Could a world free of complaints ever exist? Just imagine. Welcome, enlightened viewers, to another edition of Good People, Good Works. Today on our program, we once again profile A Complaint-Free World, a U.S.-based nonprofit organization with a mission to encourage all of us to end the habit of complaining, as it results in a far healthier and happier life. A Complaint-Free World was founded by Will Bowen, lead minister of One Community Spiritual Center in Kansas City, Missouri, USA. The story of A Complaint-Free World has been featured on hundreds of U.S. radio and television programs, as well as in newspapers across the world. The Reverend has written 2 books, A Complaint-Free World and Complaint-Free Relationships, How to Positively Transform Your Personal, Work, and Love Relationships. In December 2009, he launched his film, A Complaint-Free Revolution, which features inspiring stories of people from across the USA and Canada who have transformed their lives, relationships, and businesses by simply ending their habit of complaining.
I wrote A Complaint-Free World because I had so many people asking me questions about complaining and everything. And it was a #1 bestseller in Taiwan, bestseller list in China, bestseller list in Japan. It's done very well here in this country. And I have another book called Complaint-Free Relationships, because most people complain to or about someone else. And if you're complaining to someone else, you're lowering the energy within the relationship. And if you're complaining about someone else, there's been a lot of research that shows that you don't inspire them to change. If anything, you inspire them to stay exactly as they are. So there's other ways of communicating with people that you can get your needs met without complaining to them.
Best-selling author Dr. Thomas Stanley said that when we complain about somebody, they live down to that expectation. It reinforces who they are, and they stay in that paradigm. Complaining to somebody is not going to transform them. You have never complained anybody into positive change, including yourself.
Carl Palmer, a program participant, now explains what happens to our internal system when we complain.
The research says that when you complain and you're negative, you create a chemical in your brain that lasts for 6 seconds. If you have positive thoughts in your brain, it creates a chemical in your brain that affects your body for 6 seconds. If you quit complaining, you can't stop the negative thoughts. We call them ants, automatic negative thoughts. You can't stop them from coming, but when you give them energy and putting them out, you're creating negative things inside yourself.
Studies have shown that complaining can make a person less healthy.
We hear the term psychosomatic. Well, we are all psychosomatic. Psyche, soma, mind, body. The mind and the body are intricately connected, and the body responds to the thoughts that are held in the mind. Dr. Robin Kowalski at the University of Clemson discovered that from interviewing thousands of doctors estimate that they spend as much as 2/3 of their time dealing with people whose physical illness is either based in or exacerbated by their mental processes. In other words, they are thinking sick, and it is manifesting sick in their bodies, as much as 2/3. The way she puts it is, symptoms increase with symptom reporting. Right before we gave out these complaint-free bracelets for the very first time, a man started attending my church. His name is Tom Allier. Tom suffers from chronic migraine headaches, and every day when he would come home, his wife Misha would say, "How was your day?" Now, Tom, instead of telling her what happened during the day, gave her the headache report. He'd say, "Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I had about a 7 headache all day today." Now, she wasn't asking him about his headaches, but that's what he talked about. And he suffered migraines the entire time. Now, as part of becoming complaint-free, Tom stopped complaining about his headaches. When Tom stopped complaining about his headaches using the complaint-free bracelet, Tom no longer has migraine headaches at all. This has had such an impact on Tom that Tom is now the president of the Complaint-Free World, a nonprofit organization.
A Complaint-Free World seeks to share its simple but powerful philosophy with the public.
We created a complaint-free school curriculum that's available for free, and we've had thousands of teachers download that from our website. That's available for free. We also have a complaint-free organization program that businesses can use, and again, it's free because we're a nonprofit.
Now I'm noticing in the salon a difference in the people. We are a more passionate group. We have such a contrast of personalities throughout the salon, and it's amazing because even when someone gets in a rut, the rest of us are focused on keeping the place positive, and it brings everyone together in a whole new outlook that we have never had before.
We noticed a real big difference in how the staff spoke to one another, how they spoke to the patients and the other staff members within the hospital, and even when they just were talking about things, we noticed that they had just a more positive attitude when they just had general discussions within the area.
We will pause now for a few moments, and when we return, we will find out more about A Complaint-Free World. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Albert Einstein said, "Reality is just an illusion, albeit a very persistent illusion." Our thoughts create our lives, and our words indicate what we are thinking.
Welcome back to Good People, Good Works, where we are spotlighting A Complaint-Free World, an organization that is dedicated to informing people of the benefits of speaking constructively. If we want to change something or someone's behavior, what is the best way to express our feelings without complaining?
Basically, talking about your feelings and your needs, using a lot of I language. I feel this way when you do that, as opposed to you do that. One of the interesting studies I found is that most people's comments about someone else are about their behavior. You left your socks on the floor. That's a behavioral comment. That's a behavior you did. What most people hear is they hear it personally. They take it as a personal attack. You're stupid, you're lazy, you're whatever, because you left your socks on the floor, even though it's neutral. So what we have to do is to understand that in most cases, people are going to take what we say as a request for a behavioral change. They're going to take that as a personal assault. So in most cases, we have to soften what we are saying and even say, this is not about you personally. Would you please do this? This is about something I would like for you to do. This is about asking people for what you want as opposed to complaining about what is. Because one of the biggest challenges with complaining is it keeps you focused on what's wrong rather than looking for potential solutions. So you've got to leave behind what's wrong and begin to ask for what you want.
The greatest example of a person who did not just complain was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. In 1963, Dr. King spoke on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and Dr. King did say that the United States had written the American Negro a check which had been returned marked insufficient funds. But we don't remember that as the bad check speech. We remember it as, I have a dream. I have a dream that one day this nation, and indeed the world, will judge people by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. Dr. King was able to respond. He did not just stand there and say, ain't it awful, and get everybody all upset. Instead, he hung a picture in people's minds, a picture that let them see clearly what he saw from his vision and his view from the mountaintop. He invited us into his dream.
You're living in a complaint-free world, and you can hear a complaint and then turn that complaint around to a positive and say, no, but what you do have is a lot of hair and you've got great cheek structure and bone structure, and we're going to work with your natural beauty to bring out the best in you. The tools of a complaint-free world give people that opportunity, and then the customer, it changes within themselves and they start to feel good about themselves, they start to feel happy. And so when you leave the salon experience, you're immediately going out to tell a dozen people not about the great haircut you had, but about the great experience you had and about the positive energy you felt when you were in a salon.
By becoming complaint-free, a constructive energy will spread from ourselves outwards, and as those around us also in this habit, a transformation of the world we live in begins.
So when we look at various techniques that are out there that can lift people's awareness or consciousness, or that can transform a community, what we find is there are three elements that consistently apply. One is that there is something that everyone is doing together. They have agreed to do something together. As they begin to do that together, they find they are thinking and speaking in alignment. There's a resonance that begins to form. As that resonance begins to form, then there begins to be a sense of we are bigger than any of us individually, and there's a joy and a delight that expands into the larger community, into the larger organization.
Ending the habit of complaining changes our thinking and we feel uplifted.
People will often contact me and they'll say, I'm just a happier person since I've done this. And they'll say, is it supposed to do that? I say, yeah, of course it's supposed to do that. The way I like to look at it is your brain is a manufacturer and your mouth is a customer. So the manufacturer is producing negative thoughts, which you are articulating as a complaint. If the customer will stop buying what the manufacturer is producing, the manufacturer retools, and you literally become a happier person, and you begin to think and to hold happier thoughts.
We deeply thank Reverend Will Bowen and his organization, A Complaint-Free World, for helping people around the globe shift their patterns of speech and thought in a constructive direction and thus transform their lives for the better. May their work continue to inspire people to live complaint-free lives. For more details on A Complaint-Free World, please visit www.acomplaintfreeworld.org. Books and other media by Reverend Bowen are available at www.complaintfreeworld.biz. Blissful viewers, thank you for your company on today's Good People, Good Works. Up next is the world around us after Noteworthy News. Wishing you eternal happiness, peace, and the grace of heaven.
For more details, please see www.suprememastertv.com/GPGW.